Here I am sitting in a 1942 Jeep outside Westbury Manor Museum, and we're getting ready for our event based on true events here in Fareham just before D-Day in 1944. The writing on the wall, part of the Light Nights Festival, and there's going to be dancing here where we are. There's going to be music, there's going to be jive, there's going to be urban street dance, and hopefully there's going to be hundreds of people. On a normal Saturday, we would get about 150 people, and maybe on a good day we might get 170 people in on a day, and if we have a special event, maybe a couple of hundred. But on that day, we had 980 people through in one day, and at one time we had over 400 people at one time, and they were all engaged in the performance, absolutely rapt, riveted. So you can see, as well as the Jeep, we've dressed the front of the building to be reminiscent of how it may have looked during the Second World War. We've got the sandbags, we've got the tape on the windows, and it's all part of creating the scene for the performance that's going to happen here. Local kids actually bringing to life. But it was like a party atmosphere, it was like a kind of carnival. It was absolutely buzzing. People were kind of flocking from all directions. The crowd was, I've never seen such a big crowd outside. We were drawing people out of McDonald's to come and see. So we've been working with the team at the Ashcroft and also with Integrate Dance to actually put the performance together in this space. It's quite an unusual space, and actually the surface is a lot of challenges, but actually bringing it here to this spot, I think will bring it to life. So tonight, this is where it's all going to be happening as well, because we're going to be projecting from inside the building against these windows. It's actually an idea that Dan Gail at 131 Design had, to take a film, reverse it and project it through the inside of a building, and it makes the whole building like a light box. Every window will come alive. It's an astonishing effect. It really is going to, I think, wow the audience and complement the dancing fantastically. I'm really excited about it. In the end, I think there were 8 separate films made which were running on the night, so each window kind of had a different film, kind of illustrating a different aspect, I suppose, of kind of, Fareham during the war, the wartime preparations in this area, the people involved, what happened. A really interesting thing to do, because it was amazing how much that moved people. D-Day itself was actually masterminded, well planned, just some 5 miles from here at Southwark House. Montgomery, Eisenhower, Winston Churchill, all there. That was the supreme headquarters, and King George actually visited Fareham back and forth to that centre. That's where it all happened. The best story there is the map on the wall. That's something else that's still there to this day. Was actually made by Waddington's, the puzzle manufacturer, and the guys who came down and put the map on the wall. When they finally put the map together, it was so secret that they weren't allowed to leave. They were detained until after the investigation. They weren't allowed to make a phone call, anything. Absolutely top secret. And at that moment, when that was happening, that was when the streets of Fareham were absolutely chock-a-block with the troops. There were trucks and jeeps like this one, nose to tail in every single street, like a traffic jam. And because they didn't know when they were going to go, the guys were just sleeping under their trucks. The local people were bringing them out pots of hot water so they could make tea, so that they could wash. They didn't know where they were going. And that's where the story itself, really moving story actually. I remember when I was first told it, it kind of made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. There's a wall outside what's actually now the Ashcroft Art Centre. It was a school during the Second World War on Osborne Road in Fareham. And outside that school, some of these young guys, these soldiers, saw that the kids who'd been going to that school had actually carved their names into the bricks of the wall. And some of these soldiers actually carved their own names into the wall. And then obviously they went off to D-Day, and within a week, some of those guys would have been dead on the Normandy beaches. And we've got that monument here to this day. What I really liked about it is how those guys kind of engaged with the local children, Fareham's children. We've been able to kind of bring that story to life and get young people really engaged and interested, and particularly nice that we've had, you know, veterans and the British Legion involved with this project as well. So kind of, you know, across the generations, and kind of the young kids get an insight into some of the things that actually happened here.
My name's Charlotte Constantine. I'm the Arts Development Officer at the Ashcroft Arts Centre, and we run a programme of classes and events here, and we wanted a chance for one of our classes to really get involved in an event in the community. We had members from 3 of our street dance classes participate, which altogether was about 34 kids. So that was a really nice performance opportunity for them, and also a really nice chance for the families to experience the Ashcroft at a different venue.
Charlotte was fantastic. She actually knew of a group, Integrate Dance. Charlie from Integrate actually kind of looked at the story that the whole thing's based on, and she actually was able to kind of turn that story into a kind of choreographed event. I was astonished at how much it actually moved me, you know, even just seeing the bits of rehearsal and seeing it coming together, just because it's such a powerful story, such a kind of a story of human interaction. And so in a way, being able to tell that story, you know, through the medium of dance and music, yeah, it really just came alive, and came alive, I think, for people who maybe wouldn't have been able to engage with that story if it was just kind of straight history, you know, this thing happened a long time ago.
I'm Annabelle Cook. I'm Centre Director at the Ashcroft Arts Centre in Fareham. We undertook this project in order to build better partnerships between various cultural and heritage organisations within Fareham, and to offer something quite unique to the community. We worked with professional filmmakers, we worked with the Westbury Manor Museum and our dancers here. It's important to make those partnerships to maximise the benefit for the community. Within our centre we have a certain level of skills looking at the arts, but by linking up in partnership with various different other organisations, we are able to increase that skills base which is being offered to the community, because it's not just one set of skills, it's multiple sets of skills. And it also helps us to share resources and deliver bigger scale projects for less money.
I think it's fantastically important to have events like this for the museum, and also for the people of Fareham, because, you know, we hold the history of the community here in our collections, but it's not something that everybody can engage with all the time. All week we've had this Jeep outside the museum, and people have just been coming and talking to us and telling us their stories. It's been fantastic. It's kind of turning a tap on. I also think that the best way to preserve, you know, artifacts and important things from the past is to make people care. People being interested that's the bedrock of conservation. The partnership, the team, was really key to making this happen. We couldn't have done anything like this event on our own as a sole organisation. So the team over at the Ashcroft, the team at Find Your Talent, 131 Design, who actually puts so much of the creative content into what we were able to do. Integrate Dance, even the Jeep, which came from the Hampshire County Council Museum collection, actually came down from Aldershot Military Museum, and on the back of that Jeep we actually had people from within the community bringing their own military vehicles in, which in turn then got the crowd in, got people talking. Working really closely with Fareham Borough Council, the town centre manager, who actually, you know, sorted out all the trading licences. The local parking team, because we had loads of vehicles out in the street, we had to do dispensations, all sorts of things. The team here, absolutely fantastic. Not just in the kind of lead up, the preparation, moving vehicles around, coping with tons of sand, but on the night itself, the British Legion helped us get in touch with veterans, and that was a really important part, because, you know, that's what it's really all about. It's what these guys actually went through, and telling the stories that these guys have. These stories, they won't be around forever, and we have to capture them while we can. I think everyone enjoyed it. It's great fun to be involved with.